Hello everybody and welcome back to Crypto Simplified. In this video, I shall be discussing the effects and implications of the Bitcoin mining ban in China. But before that, let's have a look at the market. I woke up to a sea of red and we have sunk below 700 billion in the total cryptocurrency market cap. Yes, these ups and downs happen in this world, but there's one overarching positive here, people. Ethereum has been up and smashing new all-time highs while the rest of the market has been down. While it's far too early to say what this could mean for the entire cryptocurrency space, if this is an indication that Ethereum is breaking free of the price movement of Bitcoin, that can be a positive thing. But to continue the good news for Ethereum, we have passed 1 lakh for a single unit of Ethereum. This happened today, early in the morning, so the early bird did not get the worm, they got ripped the hell off. I do think Ethereum is a fantastic thing. It's a fantastic cryptocurrency, a fantastic project to buy, but the price is really high right now. Do you really want to buy at an all-time high? Because if it is at an all-time high, the chances of it going lower are actually greater than it going up again. Just be a little careful. I'm not an investment advisor. This is not investment advice, but please use a bit of common sense here. Next up, one of my favorite projects, ARK. It was up and it was seriously up earlier this morning. So we smashed through that 75,000 Satoshi mark. We've pulled back to about 65,000. That was only going to be natural that this happened because for every up there has to be a down and a bit of consolidation. I do hope ARK finds the time to consolidate a little bit though, because it's been yo-yoing up and down this whole time. If you are a short-term trader and if you happen to be trading ARK, you might have made a pretty packet. But for me, ARK is very much a hodl coin. I see a long-term future for ARK. They're working on a lot of good things underneath the radar, and some would say that maybe this price pump is fairly closely aligned to the release of their new desktop wallet. It's not a new wallet, it's a wallet update. And you can download it over here, leave the link in the description. But they have listed a fair few improvements they put on here, including something to help the usability of their wallet. One of the major improvements on this wallet is more feedback. What do I mean by more feedback? If you put the wrong information in the wrong text box, you get notified saying, hey bro, you're doing the wrong thing, or something along those lines. So here, they give you plenty of warnings to make sure that you do not lose your hard-earned cryptocurrency somewhere in the blockchain. And look at this over here. It's more than just telling you something is wrong. It's also telling you why it's wrong. It's very easy to have a pop-up saying this is invalid, but saying why it's invalid will really help with the usability of this. Cryptocurrency needs to become easier to use. A lot more of the heavy lifting needs to be done by the software rather than the people. And this is a step completely in the right direction. Next up, I'm not going to talk about this too much, but CarbonHood has broken into the top 100. I've seen ads for these guys all over Facebook, and they are a feeless exchange. While that sounds really nice, a feeless exchange, less money just being lost in the works, they don't actually have too many things to buy on here. They just have 2 assets listed. Everyone's got to start somewhere. But if this goes well, I'm pretty sure we have another viable option. As you might have known, Bittrex, Binance, and Bitfinex have stopped registration of new accounts because they physically cannot scale this up right now. The key question is, can all these new exchanges retain their users, or will they lose everyone once the registration barriers have been lifted on these major exchanges? Next up, we have Vibe. Keith Waring spoke about this one, and I have to admit I was quite interested in it, and I did have a look at it much before this 300% pump that it had in the last day. Something about this project sort of raised a few alarm bells, that there were too many buzzwords in one project. It's about virtual reality, it's about holograms, and it's about blockchain. It's like they're trying to tick as many boxes as possible. I've had a look at the white paper. It seems like they actually need the token for the functioning of their platform, because the Vibe token is what you use to pay and actually make transactions on this platform. So in that regard, the token has a use. But I'm just finding this a little bit too much of a trend grab right now. But a 300% price increase is not a joke, guys. It's fantastic. There are lots and lots of very happy Vibe investors right now. Will this attention make them go further, make them do bigger, better things? Or will it make them crumble? I'm quite interested in seeing how this will work out. And now, all that being said, the big story of the day. China clamping down on Bitcoin mining. This is a highly nuanced topic because there's lots and lots of information being thrown around right now that isn't necessarily 100% true, or is being framed in a way to make it look a lot better or worse than it really is. So I want to go through this methodically just to see that we have as many of the facts straight as possible. But first, what I'm going to start with is what they're actually reporting. So it all started with a Bloomberg article over here. And I'll leave the link in the description, but there seems to be a fairly comprehensive interview on the Bloomberg channel about what's happening. There was a meeting held behind closed doors, but several articles are showing that there may have been lots of meetings held behind closed doors. So among the things discussed in these meetings are how Bitcoin mining is a waste of power. Those of you who've been on my channel for a while will know what I think about this whole Bitcoin and power consumption topic. For those of you who do not know, link. There will be a lot of factors in play if a country as involved with Bitcoin as China is going to take actions like this. Because we do know that some of the largest hardware manufacturers for Bitcoin mining are in China. We also know that a lot of the hashing power in the world comes from China. Why China though? Why is China seen as this oasis for Bitcoin development and Bitcoin mining? Well, to put it simply, they have really, really cheap electricity. Some of the cheapest electricity in the world. The mining in China happens in the Sichuan province. And there is a huge amount of hydroelectric power over here. This is the Wikipedia page, a reliable Wikipedia. List of the major power stations in Sichuan. Scroll down over here to hydroelectric. I have sorted by capacity. And this list just keeps going on and on and on and on. If you're familiar with hydroelectric power, you do know that there are times when these dams need to just let a lot of water go because there's buildup in the dam. What this results in is a lot of wasted power that no one pays for because the amount coming out is so high. So people like Jihan Wu had deals with these people to buy power lower than market prices, power that would be otherwise wasted. So that means it's a win-win for everyone in this situation. But now that the government are deciding to say that, hey, Bitcoin mining isn't something that we want a long-term presence in, somebody must have pissed off somebody else in a massive scale. You need to understand that this was a beautifully symbiotic relationship. Waste was actually being reduced by diverting all this power that would eventually not be paid for by anyone to these Bitcoin miners who are very happy to take the excess. So something major really must have happened over here, because Jihan Wu is a massive player in the cryptocurrency world. He stands to lose a lot by this regulation or potential regulation. What we do know is that China understands that they cannot just pull the plug on all these Bitcoin mining operations. They seem to have a healthy enough grasp on how this works, i.e. the difficulty of Bitcoin mining. To understand the mining difficulty, you need to understand the block time, the block confirmation. Part of the Bitcoin code is that a new block where Bitcoin gets distributed to a miner happens every 10 minutes. If you add a ton of new power to this, initially, yes, you'll be confirming a lot of blocks and getting a lot of profit, but then this whole system self-corrects. It works exactly the same way in the opposite direction. So when miners move away from the system, initially it'll be way harder to confirm blocks, but then after a certain number of blocks, it self-corrects. So the government understands that this is needed to maintain the health of the system, because this is bigger than one country. This is bigger than one group of people. This is a global currency. For the first time, we have a viable global currency. So China understands, and they are saying game over, potentially. But like a lot of phenomena like this, we have something called the pressed balloon effect. I shall link you to a very comprehensive view on that, but a summary of the pressed balloon effect is, if you push something down through regulation, this is a balloon. It'll pop up elsewhere. And we are seeing there are potentially lots and lots of takers for this demand in Bitcoin mining that the Chinese will leave. And we are seeing lots of potential takers for people to contribute to the Bitcoin mining network. Vice says Russia are very bullish on this, and this is an absolute 180 to what Russia considered about cryptocurrency. Similarly with the United States. But basically what we are seeing with the mining of Bitcoin is a form of energy arbitrage. What do I mean by energy arbitrage? If you are thinking of setting up a Bitcoin mining facility, there are a few factors that will determine your profit. You got the hashing power and the power consumption. These both sort of tend to tie into each other depending on the rig that you are using. Massive rigs like ASICs will give you higher absolute power and hashing power, but they'll also give you a better efficiency than a smaller rig. The two factors that tend to be fairly independent in this calculation are the cost per kilowatt hour of energy and your pool fee. Your pool fee is determined by the pool, but if you want to set up a system to mine cryptocurrency, you will always go to a place where you have cheaper power. There might be somewhere that already has a renewable energy grid that has paid off its initial investment, or going to a place where there's a subsidy for power. The government handles this, because if you want long-term guarantees, you often go where the policy is already set to enact that. China had enjoyed the benefits of this for a very, very long time. But as I said earlier, someone must have said the wrong thing to someone else, and someone is not happy with the way things are going, and this little honeymoon period could be coming to an end. Does this mean the end for Bitcoin? Absolutely not. Even if the plug is pulled, which, like I said, it will not be just pulled, there will be a maximum of 216 blocks until the next difficulty correction. That will not be too long. So, yes, there might be short-term catastrophic price action, but in the long run, the system is fine. The thing is, in all this, we're listening to what's being said. But what is not being said? NEO seems completely unaffected by all this. NEO is a proof of stake coin. You stake NEO in your Neon wallet, you get gas. People, this seems to be a very, very pro-NEO play by the government. 27 ICOs coming out on the NEO platform in 2018. 27, and those are just confirmed. There could be even more. I was bullish on NEO earlier, folks, but right now I am completely optimistic on them making some world-changing developments in the next 2 or 3 years. NEO could experience a perfect storm of growth. So basically, what we have seen from all this is that we shouldn't be too worried about this right now, because any problems will be slightly temporary. I would love to see any more official talks on this. I'd like to see what the government has to say about this. I'd like to see what these major mining conglomerates have to say about this. We do know that Roger Ver, Jihan Wu, and all those Bitcoin Cash folk will have something major to say about this, because we thought that Bitcoin Cash had this unfair competitive advantage with the cheaper energy pricing. Now there's potential of all this coming to a grinding halt. Cryptocurrency keeps throwing us new challenges all the time. This is probably just one more of them. I completely believe in Bitcoin's ability to prevail. Do let me know what you think in the comments though, because this is a topic that has no right or wrong answers. Every single opinion is one that should be heard because it could be a possibility. No one knows what's happening. I would love to see how this can potentially decentralize a decentralized thing even further, because people had expressed concerns about how much mining power there was in China. We could decentralize decentralization. Let's see how this works. There's so much that could happen. We know absolutely nothing. So please tell me what you think. We need to find the truth somewhere in between all this. And if we can probably accurately predict what might happen, it might help us in terms of market movement and market forces. So that's it from me. That's the video for today. Do let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what you have to say. This is Mark from Crypto Simplified signing off. You have an awesome rest of the day. We will catch up very, very soon. Take care.